All right, I'm here with Semphis.
What's up?
He's a noun now. And by that, I mean Semphis has been around this game a lot longer than you've probably been alive. And that's okay too, because we're gonna try to catch up on everything that is North American. So Semphis, tell me a little about your journey, man. Like, where do you come from? Where did you go? How did you go from this to this?
Oh man, I was just like, when I was younger, I knew that eating, fast food all the time is not great for you, but my logic was like, I'm young, I can be a little bit chubby or whatever. And then you don't really think about it, kind of catches up and you're like, oh, I'm actually obese now. And at that point I realized, like, I think I was around 24, I was like, I gotta make a change sooner than later, because everyone knows, like, as you get older, it's just gonna become harder.
Corey, you said some things, long ago. You said some things like, yeah, I was playing my best Counter-Strike when I was eating 2 full large Domino's pizzas a day.
Yeah.
And I've thought about that ever since. I don't know why I feel the necessity to tell my friends this. I don't know if I'm trying to inspire them to eat more pizza or less pizza, but nonetheless, you damn sure did it. So your transformation's all there. And it also ties in a little bit lovely of Counter-Strike too. As it turns out, that's been a big part of your life.
Well, the thing about, pizza is it's fuel. When you eat a large pizza and you don't do anything, you have energy forever. You can play gaming for 14 hours straight, no problem. You're never gonna be tired.
What would you get on those pizzas?
Oh man.
Everything?
At my peak fatness, I was getting, there was an Indian pizza place down the street, $10.99 for a 6-topping large pizza, and I would get meat lovers, just load that up. And then sometimes I would go there, and I went there so much that if someone didn't pick up their pizza, they would just give me their pizza. So sometimes I'd come home and eat literally like 2 larges at one time. But it's kind of like strongmen, sometimes you need the weight for your sport. Yeah. And like for esports, I think we're going the wrong way. People are trying to be skinny. They should just be getting fatter, honestly.
There was a rule, Corey, and I think you know this as well as I do. There's always this rule where either someone has to have good hair or they have to be obese on a team.
Yeah, I know. But they got away from it. And you can see it hurts teams when they get away with it.
Who do you think is bringing down more, Europe or NA?
I think Europe's doing a worse job right now, honestly.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know. Inflation's not gonna help either. People aren't gonna be able to afford the food.
Yeah.
So we gotta fix this.
It's gonna be a real weird predicament. Speaking of predicaments, you found yourself in one once upon a time. We'll run it all the way back to 2014. Load that clip up. Let's see what we've got here. Corey, as we watch this, I wanna hear a little bit about your side of this. Now, this does go far back. To a little team called the Ninjas in Pajamas.
Is this a Cobble game? Yes, I knew it.
You knew it. It's right out of it.
I knew it.
Does this haunt you? Like, whenever you're looking back at your time spent in the server, are you like, maybe not this instance per se, but do you ever replay these moments in your mind?
Not this specific one, but the Freiburg clip where he's behind cannons.
Just hanging out right there.
Yeah, I mean, for a little bit of backstory for people that didn't play back then, is this map was added 1 month with Overpass before the major. And us, Cloud9 and ibuyPower were the only 2 teams in North America that were really going to international events. Mm-hmm. So none of the teams would scrim us on Cobble or Overpass. So we basically, and ibuyPower wasn't willing to scrim us at the time.
Exactly.
So we just couldn't practice the map. We had 1 week in boot camp. So we tried Overpass and then we were like, this isn't working. So we switched to Cobble like 2 days before the event. And we were okay at it, doing a kind of puggy, scrimmy stuff, because in 2 days, how much are you really gonna yeah. So I was calling at that event and we were doing some wild stuff and it was working until we didn't know the cannon spot existed. We quite literally had played the map not enough to know to check the spot. So yeah, I was a little bit disappointed, and I still think about that because they won this event after, and we were on fire. We were playing really well. That was when we just picked up Shroud, and he kind of
C9 signature was there.
Yeah,
it was just at that time frame.
People don't remember Shroud at the time. He was getting like 100 viewers on Twitch. Complete peasant. Almost didn't even want to talk to him. He had such little viewers,
So NA lore is only fitting if I'm sitting here with an NA individual. He goes by the name of Floppy. He hails from Oregon. He's got a lot going on. Floppy, you've been watching the game for a while. Tell me about something that sticks out from the earlier days before you hit the pro circuit, before everything came together like you had.
I think back in 2017 is when I joined Rank S. And I remember back in the day, that's when everyone played Rank S and was talking shit to each other all the time. And I was definitely a part of that. Because I was bad. Yeah, I was bad. And playing on 80 ping, so I'm missing shots, not getting kills.
It's just immediately tilted.
Yeah, people got pissed at me back in the day. I think back then it was more 9-day. Like I didn't think about the game as pros should have back then. Because I mean, things like Rank S and FPL were too puggy, like in the sense that you're not really doing anything that's going to be replicated in a real game. So for me, it wasn't really that good, honestly. I'd rather stayed on a team for long enough with people who actually want to compete and get better together.
We've had instances of NA really showing its colors right here. Shout out to Dirty Peak Pete one time, who is one of the only individuals who I've ever known to break his leg on a moving airplane.
On an airplane. I wish the picture was up there. Have you seen the picture of his foot? Oh no, there's the pic. Scroll down.
Yeah.
He needs to clip his toenails. If he's gonna post something like that.
That's probably why this happened.
Yeah.
He probably tripped over his own toenails a little bit there. Corey, what happened? Do you have any idea? Do you know anything about this?
Yeah, so what I heard, at least, is, and I don't know if this is 100% factual, is that the airport or the airplane seatbelt sign was on, and there was a little bit of turbulence. So he got up to go to the washroom, and as he was walking, I guess you can hit air pockets in a plane, and when you do, it's just like folding stories, like a couple stories, like really fast. And I guess that happened at like just a bad time, and all the stars aligned in a negative way.
Like in a bad luck Brian.
Yeah, exactly. And then his leg broke. And I mean, honestly, who knows? He might not have been drinking enough milk either. That could have played into it.
Depletion in the bones, man.
So honestly, when I heard that, I didn't even know that was possible.
It didn't sound real.
Yeah, I was like, what? He broke your leg on a plane? But
I think that's probably in a record book somewhere. Good job, EPR.
But now he's gambling. He does poker online now. So he's
Dirty Peak Pete. Why do they call him that? Did he deserve that title, Dirty Pete?
Because when Pete's on, you can't win. It's impossible. Yeah, it's not. You can't do anything. He'll tell you that himself.
He will. He will absolutely tell you that. Also, like this next gentleman who has transformed over time as well. He spent a stint in NA. We're talking about Simple. At this point. Goes to place for Liquid. But this in particular, part of the NA war, I suppose.
Yeah.
Why you bully me? You fucking bitch. Why you bully me? Everyone asking.
What can you tell me about this situation?
Well, I mean, they're both in the wrong. Simple wasn't a good person at the time. He was a giant trash talker that talked shit to everyone. So it's kind of hypocritical for everyone to just go against Freakazoid in this instance. But I do think they were both in the wrong, and they just were acting like children. But that's normal in Counter-Strike,
Super normal.
When you play Counter-Strike, your brain is aged like 10 years younger.
Really?
I'm pretty sure, yeah. I think that's a science fact. You can look it up.
Man, that's pretty good.
You just act more childish, but I don't know, like that situation was so weird, and then they went that whole PR route where they made Freakazoid go and do like some counseling or whatever he did.
Who knows?
I don't know if he actually did it or not, and then nothing really happened to Simple, but it's not like he was free of any blame. So
true. But I also think the Simple that we have, just as a testament to running back, the Simple that we have now is light years different than that Simple.
Oh yeah, of course.
Not to mention when you add in the sort of contingencies, which are people are streaming and all eyes in the community are on these moments like this. People are going to blow things out of proportion. So it does tend to happen. But speaking of blowing things, these next two gentlemen certainly did that. They had a promising way through. They had a great path, I would say, in terms of ibuyPower. Then obviously they got banned for match fixing. Let's not beat around the bush here.
About to die, guys.
I fucking shot! Fuck this game!
We lose to Glocks! Fucking Glocks! Holy shit! I do not understand it.
What do you don't understand?
I don't get it.
I don't get it.
Every
you don't get it? I don't get
single
it.
fucking game. Every motherfucking
What game?
game.
Talk to me about an impact like these guys had and perhaps what they brought to the table inside the game, inside of FPLs and rank CSs and things of that nature.
So you just mean like the effect of their ban, like on?
Well, the effect of them as players, and then we can also talk about the ban as well. Yeah.
I mean, obviously everyone knows Steel and Daze were like kind of probably in the top 3 to top 5 of like the NA callers and stuff at the time. There were, there's obviously Nitro and Sean and a couple other people that were up there. But, I think it really hurt the scene when they got banned, just because even like say theoretically like they weren't going to be the best team in the world, it was still like you saw what Steel did with Chaos, for example, and like Daze could have done the same thing with a lower team. So, I mean, obviously you deserve to be punished for something like that. I think like a permanent ban was a little much.
Like a lifetime ban does seem a little wild.
Especially since, I mean, I'm not gonna call out people specifically, but there's other top teams and other top players that have match fix games that are not banned, and Valve hasn't really done anything or looked into it. So it's like they kind of used ibuyPower as an example. And I'm not even saying it was the wrong decision. It was just a really weird time, and it's hard because obviously what they did was wrong. So I'm not trying to I'm not trying to side with them or anything. It's just
But I mean, lifetime that's a big amount of time. You know,
you don't
that's
even.
it.
If I killed someone, I don't even go to jail forever.
Isn't that the wildest part? Like,
So-
yeah, and as we are in NA, it does make a little bit sense, but it's true. Like there are severely more harsh punishments.
Yeah.
A lot of bits and pieces. You probably grew up and watched, say, Dazed and Steel a little bit.
Yeah.
Lady Rank Estes?
Oh yeah, the Days is one of the guys that raged at me. I remember back then I was like, oh, I don't want to queue this anymore.
Okay. Really and truly, what they brought to North American Counter-Strike was what to you?
The first thing that comes to mind is a throwing scandal.
Well, yeah, that would be absolutely there's an elephant over there in the room. That was it. We just found it.
Yeah.
We got it. It's good. He's a manager.
A manager!
Famous clip for multiple reasons. Obviously, once it gets said 85,000 million billion trillion times. But in this instance, tell me about some of the names you see in the kill feed. Like, there's going to be a few in here that are going to pop up. You see, like, Ryu, for example.
Yeah, Ryu.
I think you see a Splice logo up there. That'll make you feel old, won't it?
We have
Pause it right
Whitmer, RYX, Flom,
Oh my God.
Fruit, Disciple, Ryu. Yeah, some of them still play. Uber, I think Uber just came back actually. I saw him on Twitter the other day. I don't know if he's still playing. Ruru.
Which of these lineups would have won in Paris?
That's hard. The top one, I think.
Kind of just have to.
Yeah, I got it.
It's a 50-50 on this.
I gotta
one.
go with the top one just because
Okay.
Ruru was really good actually, like skill-wise. I think there was other things in his life holding him back, unfortunately. But he was very talented when he was playing back then.
But obviously, we were talking about the bans a little bit, and then how'd that change the landscape of NA and CSGO?
I think it just removed one of the best teams that you could practice against. And even if you were like glad they're banned or whatever, and you don't want them unbanned, which is fair. I mean, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. I just still think it hurt the scene, just the fact that like you just lost 5 of the best players in the region. You can't practice versus them. NA already kind of lacks scrim partners and stuff. I mean, it helps when the Brazilians come. Like,
Well, even because back then, I don't even think the Brazilians were like officially on the scene.
there wasn't as many teams.
Yeah.
There was just pretty much that like kaboom team kind of coming up. I don't know if they were LG at the time yet. My memory's not that great.
Well, I mean, it changed practice regimen overall in NA.
Yeah.
It went from like, hey, we're gonna play a couple scrims and play an ESEA match online to, nah, y'all are gonna be online ready to go by like noon, playing up to that, and hopefully your fingers can hold on for the ride.
Yeah.
Speaking of holding on for the ride, once upon a time, we exited B.
Yeah.
So, Corey, this was a different version of the game, all right? You didn't have the HUD through the wall. You didn't have these sort of like attributes about it, but
Yo, they're alt and shit.
Flash that?
Got one. Yo, exiting B, don't kill me. Oh, fuck.
One at the hall.
I'm sorry. Mexi, man.
Dead. One bell.
Bomb's there.
Yeah, so this clip, I've been reminded, it's impossible to forget, because if I log in Counter-Strike, it's pretty much exiting B in deathmatch or whatever, 24/7. I don't think I can go a day of playing Counter-Strike without someone bringing that up.
I mean, this, back in the day, I don't know how far away this was, like 2015, 2016?
15, I think.
But you used to not be able to see like your teammates' equipment and their names.
Yeah, they
so
didn't have that option.
Yeah, so it's like, honestly, I don't blame it back then. But I mean, if you're saying it 3 times and then your teammate still kills you, that's pretty bad. But
Even that clip, you hear Shazam go, "I'm sorry."
yeah, sorry, Corey. I'm sorry, Corey.
It's just like such a defeated sound in his voice.
Yeah, it's just like, it's just messed up.
It's one of those clips where it's like, it doesn't make me mad or anything. Like,
chaotic right there,
it's, it was a major, we weren't in our best form, and it was kind of, it's legacy in the game. So
If I make it feel any better, I just talked to Floppy about this, and he said, I would have done the same thing. Yeah, I would have blasted him too, just because he had no indication in that environment. Like, who knows what would actually be going on? So yeah, exiting B, that's some true NA lore from once upon a time. But the vibe of ESEA LANs, now that actually encapsulates NA, and it's interesting.
Yeah. The ESEA LANs were awesome back in the day just because they felt a lot more connected to the fans a little bit, but at the same time, they would not work today. With the amount of people that are fans and mega fans and how many people there are, it's just too much. Like, you were at the ESEA LANs, it was manageable back then, but
I mean, it wasn't something that you needed security on the door, albeit you probably want that.
yeah, I think maybe like
Mozbek would probably know.
Mozbek, yeah.
Sorry, I bring a name out of the hat there for that one.
Mozbek was the best NA player.
But once upon a time, yeah, I actually, I just can't believe the fall from grace. But anyway, enough about Mozbek. The LAN environment there, it was very personal almost. you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, like you might even be able to simulate it a little bit nowadays if you gave out like a couple random passes to fans maybe to come, but you know, that's about the closest thing I think you could really get to replicating it. But maybe some tier 2 LANs could maybe do it with like some of the smaller teams that don't have as crazy amount of fans and stuff. You know, you're like Liquid or Furious shows up, there's always gonna be, it's gonna be a zoo, right? So. No, it's super cool. So anyone that didn't play back then, you know, you missed out. Is that ESWC Montreal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we have some more footage in here, just kind of really hone in on what North America's accomplished. And this one in particular, we know what happens here. You barbecued yourself.
Yeah.
And then this little awkward moment. What the hell happened? What's this all about?
Just a glitch, I think.
Just
it happens sometimes. Like it used to happen window on B too, on Dust 2. Is like you go in the B and you just get stuck. You just can't move.
That's not
so. Yeah, I got stuck in a 1v1 on a pistol in a match before, and I literally I just ran the timeout, just lost.
That's so annoying, man.
It was super rare though. Oh, Mo. This is just unlucky. Mo doesn't normally ever miss. Like this is just
names in here. TCK, you play with them, right?
Yep.
And then like there's Steve Warren, he joined. Well, anyway, Young Tarrant, No Shirt TV back then probably.
Yeah, now he's streaming Valorant with 100,000 viewers.
Laughing at us.
Yeah, from his mansion.
Well, look at this, Mouse Spaz.
Yeah.
There you go. You look at some of the names up there and you're like, holy smokes, dude. These guys, you know, longevity, you know, kind of gives a look and a glimpse into longevity. But nothing could quite go on as long as your explanation of this damn castle, Corey.
I know.
Where were you in your, you know, like, were you on like some nature hike, maybe on some psychedelics, and you're like, man, we should get a castle?
No, honestly, I'm honestly just a genius, and this just came to me naturally, so I didn't really have to think that hard about it. But
the cool part is you drew this all in paint.
Yeah, this is all me actually. It only took me 5 minutes to do this actually.
Okay.
Oh, I remember this, the castle.
What the fuck?
Yeah, we move into it. Yeah, I mean, might as well. I'm sick of sitting on a plane for half my life now, going to Europe back and forth. Let's just live in a castle.
Yeah, and then that way we just have like alligators and stuff to worry about if we want to leave.
You just all saves money on security.
Yeah.
Just feed the alligators.
But yeah, this is probably one of my better ideas. I still don't know why it hasn't been done. Like, I just really don't get it.
So run me back to it then. What is the simplest way to explain this?
So basically my idea was you get all the orgs and sponsors to pool their money together. So instead of us all flying around, you got to rent these venues and stuff, we just buy a castle for like $80 million or whatever it is. I don't know. I'm not a castle expert. And then once you have the castle, you start pimping it out, right? You got the moat, because like fans are gonna try to break in and stuff, right?
And players might try to break in.
So yeah, exactly. So you got to make sure that people can't cheat and stuff. So you could have the LAN center like right in the middle of the courtyard, you know, like you could have everyone can have their own rooms, and you could have like different people could live in different quarters depending on how well they're doing, right? So like if you're ranked #1, maybe you get like the highest peak of the castle, and then maybe if you get caught cheating, you go to the dungeon, right? So like it's almost like kind of like your own little village.
So what do you put in the moat? Like what sort of, you know, beasts?
I was just thinking like oil, and then you could just light it on fire.
Oil.
Yeah,
wow.
Like if things go bad.
Sure you haven't been playing Rust?
Never played it.
Don't. No, but for real, Corey, this is a hell of an idea. So,
and if they would have listened to me, COVID would have gone way better. Awesome.
NA, are you excited? You have big hopes for them here in Dallas?
When you play a tournament this level, this is probably the biggest tournament they've ever played. I think maybe the RMR was more like important in the sense that like you're making the major, so like the prestige of that might be a little bit higher, but in the terms of like the actual quality of the teams here are higher than the RMR for sure. So this is probably their biggest tournament with a stage with fans, and they've never played this. Like I have in the past, but this is going to be their first like big tournament.
In NA as well.
And in NA, and it is nice as in NA. It's a little bit easier to get the food you want in here and stuff like that. In Europe, it can be a little bit harder. I don't know if you agree. Like
I mean, I agree, but also I just kind of want to sign off by seeing you eat one of these eggs. Can we do that, or is that?
Yeah, sure. We can eat the egg. All right. So this is what we got. We got 16 eggs right here, but I'm not going to eat all 16 eggs.
One sitting. One time, all 16.
what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna split them all. There you go. And I'm gonna take the egg whites and I'm gonna eat some of that salmon there.
Oh, it's kind of like mixed.
Yeah, but honestly, we eat them.
And that's NA, baby. And this is Semphis.